All right, so we've all been there, right?
Hmm.
Deadlines are suddenly breathing down your neck. Projects are piling up faster than you can say, deadline peak time is officially here.
Yep.
But before you surrender to the overwhelm, we're going to dive into 5 practical tips that'll not only help you survive, but actually thrive. Yeah, thrive during these crazy busy periods.
That's right. It's not about just pushing through and burning yourself out. It's about working smarter, more strategically. Think of these tips as pressure valves,
Right?
releasing the stress while making sure you achieve what truly
Yeah,
matters.
music to my ears. So let's kick things off with a tried and true classic, prioritization. It always seems to be the advice, right? Prioritize.
Right.
But when everything feels super urgent, how do you actually decide what's mission critical?
The key is you have to separate urgent from important.
Ooh, I like that.
Because, yeah, think about it. It's so easy to get caught up in those urgent things. Like you're drowning in emails, but you haven't even started that big presentation that's due next week. That's a prime example of urgency winning out over importance.
Right, right.
There's actually a really helpful visual for this called the Eisenhower matrix. It basically helps you categorize tasks based on urgency and importance so you can prioritize effectively.
Oh, yeah. I've used that before. That's a good one.
It's a lifesaver, especially during peak times. We'll make sure to link that in the show notes for everyone listening.
Perfect.
Oh.
But honestly, sometimes, even with prioritizing, it feels like there's just way too much to handle, which leads us perfectly into our next tip, delegation. Delegation, delegation, delegation. It's like easier said than done, though, right?
No, tell me about it.
Especially, I think, for those of us who are used to, you know, we like to handle everything ourselves.
Right.
We want to be on top of it all.
It's true. It can be a really tough one, but honestly, it's all about shifting your perspective. Instead of thinking, I have to do it all, think about it like you're tapping into your team's strengths. Because everybody has their strengths, right?
Right.
So identify tasks that others can handle. This frees you up to focus on what you uniquely bring to the table. Because you're good at certain things. Let other people who are good at other things do those things.
It makes total sense. But I think delegating effectively is really tied into this next point, which is about managing expectations, both your own and your team's. So how do you push back on a workload that you know is just not realistic without looking like you can't handle it? Because you don't want to come across as, well, incapable.
Of course not, but you have to be honest. I think clear, honest communication is absolutely vital in these situations.
Yeah.
And frame it in a way where you're aiming for project success, right? Because that's what everybody wants. Lay out what you can realistically achieve within the time frame that you have, and don't be afraid to propose alternative solutions if needed. Remember, you're on the same team. A collaborative approach always leads to better outcomes.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, so now I want to dive into the slightly geekier side, time management tools.
Okay, let's do it.
I'll be honest, for a long time, I resisted using them. They just felt too rigid,
Yeah.
I like to be more free-flowing.
Yeah.
But then I discovered time blocking, and honestly, it has been a game changer for me.
It's a game changer.
Are there any specific tools that you recommend, especially for those super, super busy times when you're just feeling like you're drowning in tasks?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Time blocking is amazing, and it's so simple. It's about scheduling your day in blocks, dedicating specific chunks of time to certain tasks. And yes, task management apps, those are lifesavers. I mean, they keep track of deadlines, they track your progress, they take so much mental load off of your plate.
It really is like having a personal assistant for your brain.
It really is, yeah.
Speaking of giving your brain a break, that brings us to our last tip. It's so easy to neglect breaks, especially when you're swamped. But are they really that crucial when it feels like you're already so short on time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are non-negotiable. Think of short breaks throughout your day as hitting the refresh button on your brain.
Love that.
They boost your focus, they prevent burnout, even if it's just 5 minutes to step away from your computer, go for a walk, that sort of thing.
It's funny how we almost resist taking those breaks as if we're somehow, saving time by just pushing through it.
Yeah.
But I remember this one time I was working on this huge project. I was feeling totally stuck. And I finally decided to just take a quick walk outside. I got some fresh air, and it completely shifted my perspective. It reminded me that sometimes you need to step back to actually move forward. Like they say, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. You have to refill your cup. Those micro breaks are so vital for your productivity, for your mental health, everything.
Couldn't agree more. So there you have it, 5 practical strategies to help you navigate those inevitable peak times that we all experience. And just remember, it's about working smarter, not harder.
Couldn't agree more. Implement these tips, use those tools, prioritize those breaks, and who knows, those peak times might even start to feel, dare I say, manageable.
Okay, maybe not manageable, but definitely less overwhelming.
Yeah.
Now, here's a thought for all of you listening. How can you apply these tips, not just to work, but to other busy areas of your life? Because it's not just about work, right? It's about our personal lives, our relationships. So something to ponder.